How's it going, everybody? Thank you very much for watching. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. Welcome to the first video of 2023. I apologize I haven't been able to upload anything recently. I've been feeling a little ill ever since around New Year's Eve. Finally starting to feel like my old self. So, with everybody coming out with their 10 best lists of 2022, I thought let me get my little list together and present it to you all, since I love making lists, been making lists like all my life, and perfect time of the year for that right now. So gonna give you some quick honorable mentions real quick. To start off with, Bullet Train almost made my top 10. One of the best action movies of last year, in my opinion. Just really cool to see Brad Pitt having a lot of fun. It looks like he's having a lot of fun playing a more sillier part. And just a really cool, colorful cast of supporting characters, really cool action, and really good pace. So I really enjoyed that. Uh, Everything Everywhere All at Once is a movie that almost made my list. I really enjoyed it. Michelle Yeoh is terrific in it. Very original idea. I've always loved her ever since I saw Super Cop in the theater back in the day. And yeah, almost made the list, but not quite. Another one that almost made my top 10 is The Menu. Very solid thriller that I almost slid in my 10 spot, but have a kind of an issue with something that happens towards or around the end, or the way the movie ends. It just kind of didn't really sit right with me, so uh, didn't really quite make my list, but really good movie anyways, and I highly recommend it. The Fablemans, Steven Spielberg's latest movie about his growing up and learning his passion for filmmaking. Movies about filmmaking and anything like that. Movies about somebody trying to make a movie. Something that I always kind of gravitate towards. As a young kid, I remember grabbing a camera and getting people together, getting friends together, and shooting short films at school or at the park or in my backyard. So that's something that I can relate to, and I really enjoyed it, but didn't quite make my top 10, but a very good movie either way. And my last honorable mention is a movie that's on Netflix that is a remake of a classic black and white film. It's a World War One movie, All Quiet on the Western Front. Very well executed, very good acting in the movie. Pretty good pace. There's kind of a lull in the middle of the film for those that would just want constant war action, but the war scenes in the movie are incredible and very well done, and highly recommend it. I always enjoy a good war movie. So yeah, that's my quick 5 honorable mentions. So starting off with my list at number 10, Barbarian, directed by Zach Gregory, movie that starred Georgina Campbell and Bill Skarsgård and Justin Long. All three of these actors were really good in the movie. The dialogue in the movie was very well written. It was a very uh, unpredictable horror movie, which is always a plus when it comes to a horror movie or just movies in general. But I really like this really dark sort of bed and breakfast story. Really cool twists and turns in there, and just a really nice horror surprise. And myself being a horror fan, I had to slide a horror movie on the list because I got to keep it real. So, all right, that's number 10, Barbarian. Uh, my number 9 is a movie that I haven't heard anybody talk about online, but uh, I don't put movies on lists, for other people. I put them on there just, for me. But, I got to be honest with you guys. I got to be honest with myself. Um, the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Uh, I don't think made anybody's list this year. I don't think it's on anybody's radar really. Didn't like I said, didn't really. I didn't hear anybody talking about this movie after it came out. But I'm a big fan of Nicolas Cage, and it was really fun to see him dialed up to 11 once again. If the part fits it, and playing Nicolas Cage, I think the part fits it. Just a really cool movie. The idea is he's playing himself, or a version of himself, kind of a caricature of himself, because in real life he doesn't really have a daughter. And you got Pedro Pascal in a very funny performance as this drug dealer who invites the actor Nick Cage over to his house for like a weekend to like chill and hang out. And he's got like a Nicolas Cage shrine, and it gets kind of awkward, but they have some really great moments together, and they actually do spark up a friendship. Very kind of unique story that I really dug. And there's a great scene with Nicolas Cage and his daughter in the film, where he's trying to show her a movie that he really loves, like this old black and white movie, and she could give two shits about it. And that's a moment that have lived in myself, trying to show movies to my kids, like my son or my daughter. And yeah, I can relate to that. So and this Nick Cage, one of his kind of off the wall performances that I really dig. So yeah, really, really fun comedy. It makes my number 9 spot. At number 8 is Glass Onion, Knives Out 2, a Knives Out mystery. Rian Johnson. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the director of the last film. Tom Gormican directed The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Highly recommend that if you like comedies or Nick Cage. Okay, yeah, Knives Out 2, directed by Rian Johnson, or Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, actually, is really good mystery comedy, much like the first movie. Hard for me to put any flaws on it because I watched it twice and I enjoyed it both times. The mystery is pretty well done. The cast of supporting characters like Dave Bautista, who's become a really pretty competent actor the past few years. Kate Hudson, Edward Norton, and you got Daniel Craig in there as Benoit Blanc once again, really hamming it up in this kind of an off the wall accent, trying to sound like Colonel Sanders, but it works somehow because it's a comedy and he's having a lot of fun. When an actor has a lot of fun, I tend to kind of roll with it sometimes and have fun myself. So just a really good time and very rewatchable. So if you like a good comedy and a good whodunit, Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, not quite as good as the first in my opinion, but the new setting and the cast of characters really make for a fun experience. And Rian Johnson once again has a real talent for writing a mystery and knows how to shoot a good-looking film. So that's my number 8. At number 7, I have Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. This was a movie that really surprised me because I'm honestly not really big into animated movies. I can watch animated movies, I have no problem with that, but I don't really seek them out unless I'm trying to watch something with the family or the kids. So I do appreciate a good family movie, and this is a really well done family movie. I don't recommend it for smaller kids, like under like 5 or 6. I don't think it's going to hold their attention, or it might. I don't know. Maybe your kids might like it. But yeah, the animation style is really cool. The performances, the voice talent is very top notch. You got Christoph Waltz in there as kind of the villain of the movie. You got Ewan McGregor does a really great job as Sebastian J. Cricket. The Pinocchio in this movie is very likable, very sympathetic, and especially Geppetto, who is very grief-stricken in the first act of the movie, and you can feel the grief right through the voice acting and the animation. That's one of the things I really liked about this Pinocchio movie, is it really felt like it had some dramatic heft to it, and just brilliant direction and animation. There's some great little classic, there's some nice twists on the classic Pinocchio story. So it's going to be a tad different from the version that we all know from the animated Disney 40s classic. I still have yet to see the Robert Zemeckis live action Disney remake, and I've heard that it's not very good, but I like to watch things for myself. I'm just one of those people. So eventually I will check it out, but I can't imagine it being better than the version that is on Netflix from Guillermo del Toro, because it's just so damn good as far as execution of the story and the acting and the performances. So highly recommend this version of Pinocchio. I really dug it. My number 6 film. If you would have told me last year that an Adam Sandler movie would make it on my list this year, I would have said bullshit. But Hustle is a very good film. Adam Sandler is very good in it. Whenever he's in a serious role, whether it's Paul Thomas Anderson's Punch Drunk Love or Uncut Gems from a couple years ago, he always crushes it. For some reason, even actors that are consistently in serious roles aren't always capable of that. But for some reason, Adam Sandler crushes it every single time he does a dramatic role, and I got to give him credit. Hats off to him. He has really gotten a lot better as an actor throughout the years. And I can really do without his Netflix comedies as of recent. Most of them are there's a lot of hit and miss ones. Most of them are miss for me. So I'm more of a fan of the classic Sandler movies like Happy Gilmore and Wedding Singer, Waterboy. But as far as his recent movies goes, this is one of his best films, and way better than any of the junk that he's been releasing as far as his comedies goes, his Netflix comedies, and just a really well made little small basketball film. I enjoy sports films. I enjoy underdog stories. This is a very good one, and the character he plays is likable. He's just a guy that's trying to help out this young kid uh, to get into the NBA, and he puts his heart and soul into trying to help this kid, and it's a really inspiring story. And I enjoy movies like this. I enjoy movies that are uplifting, and he does such a good job in this movie. I hope that he gets some kind of recognition come award season, because yeah, I like I said, he has gotten so much better as an actor throughout the years. Uh, it sucks that they keep ignoring him every time he comes out with something good, like his performance in Uncut Gems, or in Punch Drunk Love. I think he got some Golden Globe love, but it'd be cool to see some Oscar love for Sandler someday, since you can see he's really trying to put some good work out there. And Hustle is a very good movie, so it makes my number 6 spot. At number 5 is a movie that I don't think will come to anybody's surprise: Top Gun Maverick. Uh, Top Gun Maverick is a sequel to a 1980s classic that I think a lot of people did not anticipate for a long time. And when we finally got news of this movie, I think a lot of people weren't sure if this thing was even coming out. But when it finally did, my God, did this thing deliver. And I'm sure a lot of people were skeptical if it could. I know I was one of them, seeing how it's a sequel to a 6-year-old movie. But, 37 now, I guess. Now it's a new year. But this movie worked on every level. The acting was okay, but it's really the aerial choreography and cinematography that really crushes it in this movie and brings it home. The music score, Hans Zimmer, combined with some Harry Faltermeyer music in there, really nostalgic in terms of all the feels. The love story, I think, was a little tacked on, because it's not as crucial like the Kelly McGillis love story was to the first film. But Jennifer Connelly is always nice to look at. She's a great actress, so can't really fault it there. A lot of action movies, you kind of require a little love story with somebody, so it's just part of the formula, I guess. But overall, this movie was just great in giving us an experience, and that's something that we used to go to the movies for, and it's just great to have it back. This movie got a lot of people back in the theaters, and it's a great sequel. It's one of the best sequels to a movie that's come out in a very long time. Yeah, the story is a little paint by numbers and kind of a formulaic as far as following the same pattern of the first film, but it really does have its own modern feel. The cast is really good. Tom Cruise really felt like Maverick, even though he was older Maverick. That was one of my biggest worries, was, is Maverick going to feel like Maverick? And he most definitely felt like the same old Maverick. So, yeah, just an awesome action movie and a great time. Miles Teller was awesome too. So, yeah, hats off to Joseph Kosinski for pulling it off. Great, great movie. At number 4, movie directed by Martin McDonagh, who made one of my favorite movies of 2012 with Seven Psychopaths. I enjoy a good dark comedy, and that's what we have here with The Banshees of Inisherin. For the most part, it really feels very earnest and very honest as far as a simple drama goes, but there is quite a bit of dark comedy that sneaks its way up on you in this movie, and great performances from Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell. Their chemistry is still very strong, like movies, like their previous collaborations, like In Bruges. Just great, solid acting. I don't remember the name of the actress who played Colin Farrell's sister in the film, but I hope she gets some awards recognition come award season because she's very good in the film. Brendan Gleeson is very, very good in this movie. Their dialogue carries this movie. It's very well written dialogue. And the plot of this movie, which is kind of slow because it's mostly a dialogue driven movie, basically one guy doesn't want to be the other guy's friend anymore. And I know that sounds very, very simple, but believe me, it gets very interesting. And myself in real life, there's a friend in my life that one day just stopped talking to me out of the blue. A friend of mine from like grade school, and up until a couple of years ago, one day he just stopped returning my calls. And so the plot in this movie did kind of it was a little bit relatable for me, and it did hit home for me. So that's another major reason why this movie really kind of stayed with me. And when it came time to make this list, it just kept climbing higher and higher on my list. And so I really kind of want to watch this movie again. It's just lingering in my mind and can't get out of my head, to be honest. Very good movie. The Banshees of Inisherin. If you're not into slower movies, then I don't recommend it. But if a movie is good, it doesn't matter if it's quick paced or slow paced. The dialogue carries this movie, and it's really what's important here. Is it's entertaining all the way through because of that. And so yeah, it makes my number 4 spot. At number 3 is a film directed by Robert Eggers, stars Alexander Skarsgård, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicole Kidman's in it, so is Ethan Hawke, and it is The Northman. This is a movie that, it's an action movie. It's a period Viking revenge tale, and so this is a movie that's kind of, up my alley because I'm into stuff like that. I like Braveheart or Gladiator. I like a good action epic. And from the trailers, this looked very epic, but then you watch the movie, and it's actually a more intimate action revenge movie. It's not broad in scale or epic in scope like a Braveheart or a Gladiator, but this movie has its own unique feel because of the style given to it by Robert Eggers, and it's a very good-looking movie. The cinematography is very well executed. There's some pretty good action scenes. The plot of the film, it's not anything that we haven't seen before, but it's just very well done. This young boy, his father is murdered by his uncle at the opening of the film. Not at the very opening, but near the beginning. His mother is taken from him by his uncle, and so he vows revenge and grows up to become a man. He infiltrates his uncle's group and, starts to cause, trouble within them and execute a plan of revenge. And it's a very entertaining movie. It's not going to be for everybody. If you're not into Robert Eggers' style, not everybody is. But as an action movie, for me, it's a lot of fun. It's not wall-to-wall action. It's mostly just a really good story, and that's what I want to get out of movies. Whenever I watch a movie, I want a really good story. And yeah, the story is kind of similar to other stuff we've seen in the past, but like I said, it's really well executed and a really cool Viking revenge movie. Very well done. So yeah, The Northman makes my number 3 spot. At number 2, I know I'm gonna get a lot of crap for this because a lot of people on the internet hate this director, but a lot of people have grown up with this guy too, and I'm one of them. Kevin Smith. I'm a fan of his movies. I know that not some of them are not so great. Yoga Hosers or whatever. I can take it or leave it. I still have fun with Yoga Hosers, to be honest. I know it's a bad film, but you can still have fun with bad movies. His early stuff, Kevin Smith's early stuff, like Clerks and Mallrats and Chasing Amy and Dogma, that's the stuff that the Kevin Smith fans really love, like myself. But even his stuff from the 2000s, like Clerks 2 and Zack and Miri, I even, like movies like Tusk, I even enjoyed that, to be honest, because it's so different from anything else I've ever seen. Kevin Smith just has his own style, and it's something that I really appreciate because, the stoner comedy movies, that's something I grew up with and grew up loving. And Clerks 3, I grew up watching those films, and it's really great for me to see these characters become older and to see where they're at in their, mid 40s or early 50s or whatever, and just to see how they've grown or haven't grown. And that in that way it's kind of similar to life in real life. Excuse me. There's people uh, in my life in real life that have trouble growing up, and so I see that kind of thing uh, myself. And this is just a really fun, funny, heartfelt film. And honestly, it's just nostalgia that gets me right in the feels. I've watched this film and I honestly shed tears through this movie because it does get sad at parts and sentimental. And I can be a softie if I'm attached to a movie that's part of a franchise that I love, like Clerks. Like I said, I love Kevin Smith. I love the first two Clerks movies. And so Clerks 3 really did just give me a really great experience in the theater when I watched it. I just thought it was really funny. I thought it was written very cleverly by Smith, and I just enjoyed having a good time with these familiar characters again. Basically, you got Dante and Randall back, and they're trying to make a movie. They want to make basically what's going to be a version of Clerks, pretty much what Kevin Smith did in real life with the first Clerks film. So it's kind of meta in that way, and it takes a dramatic turn in the third act. And if you're not a Kevin Smith fan, you might not really be all that into it, especially if you haven't seen the first two. But if you've seen the first two, and if you're into Kevin Smith's work, honestly, I can't see anything wrong with this film. It's just a solid, funny, sincerely heartfelt good time. So that makes my number 2 spot of my 10 best of the year. And at number 1, for anybody that knows me, this should be no surprise because I'm a huge DC guy. Batman is my favorite comic book character, always has been, ever since I was about 5 years old. And there have been many Batman films, but when they make one that's well made and is just solid all the way from beginning to end, it's hard for me not to want to just love the movie. And when I saw this movie in theaters, Matt Reeves' The Batman, I loved it from beginning to end. I didn't think that it was too long. The long run time that some people complain about, honestly, I don't see it. You could have given me more. I always, if I'm enjoying what I'm watching, give me more. I'll probably want more still. I just love this movie. I loved its David Fincher vibe. I love the performances from the cast. Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz. You got Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Everybody nailed it in this movie. And then you got Smeagol in there playing Alfred. In a really great performance as Mr. Alfred Pennyworth, and just a really and how can I not mention Paul Dano, who was terrific as the Riddler. Basically like a Zodiac killer jigsaw version of the Riddler, and just a really cool movie. It's one of the best action movies of the past year, and this is just a movie that felt like it was made for me. And I heard a lot of people say that in their reviews, but it's hard for me not to say that because this movie had that grunge vibe, and a little bit of that Nirvana in the soundtrack really helped, because it just so happens Nirvana happens to be my favorite band of all time. So if you take my favorite comic book character, you throw in my favorite band of all time, you throw in a song from one of their albums and mix it into the movie with my favorite character and give it a detective vibe, something that Batman fans have wanted for years, you're giving us gold. You're giving us cinematic movie gold, in my opinion. And to me, that's what Matt Reeves' The Batman was. Cinematic movie gold. One of the best experiences in the theater I've had of recent years. I love this movie so much that first time I watched it, the first time we have the reveal of Batman when he comes out of the shadows with that music score playing in the background, I couldn't help it. My eyes swelled up into tears out of sheer joy. And if a movie does that for me, that's everything to me. So that's why it's my number 1. And Yeah, that is my top 10 list of 2022. For everybody that watched this video and got through it, thank you very much for watching it. I very much appreciate it. Sorry if I went on a little too long. I had to talk about 10 movies and try to make this as quick as possible, but I very much appreciate you hanging out with me for a little bit. If you want to go ahead and leave me your own picks for your 10 favorite movies of last year, go ahead and leave that in the comment section if you feel like it. I always enjoy checking out other people's lists. And if a certain movie that you were expecting to hear about didn't make it on my list, I apologize. I didn't see everything I wanted to that came out in 2022. I still haven't seen The Whale, and I still haven't seen Avatar: Way of Water, which probably would have made my list because I am a Cameron fan. But nevertheless, this is the list I was able to come up with for you guys. And so there you have it, my top 10 films of 2022. So thank you very much once again. Please go ahead and be sure to look out for my next classic movie review. I was feeling ill recently, that's why it took me so long, but now that I'm all better, I'll try not to take so long in getting another review out there for you guys. And once again, I appreciate you watching. Please be sure to comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go ahead and share if you want to like, go ahead. And just take care of yourselves. Thank you very much and have a good one. Peace out.